And we are coming to you live from the heartland of America, from my heart right to yours, I hope. Welcome to the Christian Whistleblower channel. We've got some great information to share with you today. But the most important things that we always say is you don't have original sin. You've got the spark of divinity within. You don't need salvation. You don't have to go on your knees to their Savior. You're divine. You're sovereign. You're free. And you've got the right to life and life more abundant and peace that passes all understanding. And today, you've got the right to learn about Gematria and the Matrix. And I'm going to redo this because last time I tried to do it, I was roofied. And it is a weird feeling to know that you're screwing up and not really care. It's the craziest thing ever. I don't think that weed and me are meant to be close. So wow, I had a backache. Here, take this, it'll help. And yeah, it was a gummy, but it was a gummy. So anyway, here we are, and this is a very, very important topic, and I felt like it had a right to be handled much better than it was. And I see that many of you from the UK, cold, Ontario, Canada, cold. Who else said they were cold? Quite chilly here too, wherever here too is. So there's a lot of cold going on, folks. A lot of cold going on, folks. Eastern Sierras. Now let's remember that we are maintaining a fear porn free zone. So if you're sharing something, make sure that it is uplifting, that it's positive. And if you're sharing something that you think has to be shared, think it hard and long and make sure it does have corroborative data backing it up, because we're not here to do any fear porn. And remember, we don't say that V word anymore, because that is now the dosum whist, and the dosum whist is just a flu. It'll pass. Relax, take a deep breath, and maybe you should try a gummy if you're all wired out on this thing. So let's take a look, folks, at Gematria. And everybody loves Gematria. I understand that. It's very interesting. It's very entertaining. But I don't think that there's anything wrong with asking what really is Gematria and where does it come from, so we have a fuller and deeper understanding of what it is we're dealing with. And of course, this first segment brought to you by Focus Life Force Energy. You know, we're hearing more and more that part of this is energetic, part of this is frequency, and that's what Focus Life Force Energy is all about. High consciousness on demand, consciousness frequencies that are sympathetic to you, that help you. And if you're going to be quarantined, if you're going to be self-sheltering, and it's free for 30 days, why not go to jeffreydaugherty.com, click on the fluffy logo, try it out when you can really get a chance to know if it works. And I guarantee it does, and it'll help you get through this uncomfortable situation. So Gematria, you know, when I was young, yesterday when I was young, it was a while ago. It wasn't really yesterday, but we were different back then. If you told us something, the first thing we asked you was, where'd you get that from? And the second thing we asked you was, how does it work? How do you know it works? Today, it seems like we've lost, by and large. Is it the ability to do that, or is it just the desire to do that? Are people just not as smart as they used to be? Or are they just lazier than they used to be? I don't know, but the first question that we should be asking about anything, the first question we should be asking about everything is, where does this idea come from? Why don't we do it? I don't know. Are we lazy? Are we programmed? Are we not as bright as we used to be? Have all the tools in the shed become dull? I'm not sure. But the fact that we won't ask where it comes from, the fact that we won't ask what's behind this, and we said, prove it. Yeah, the true good news said, prove it. We used to say that when we were young. yesterday. Prove it. We don't do that so much anymore, but we do it here at the Christian Whistleblower channel. We say, prove it. And when we don't say prove it, it allows secret societies to freely communicate openly, yet in a covert manner, because we no longer have ears to hear what they're saying, and we no longer have eyes to see what they're doing, even though it's being done right in front of our faces. And it's our fault. So let's ask that. You say to me, Gematria, I say, prove it. So let's start by asking, what is the source of Gematria? And excuse me for asking. I know you love it. I know you think it's the greatest thing since peanut butter, but I'm going to ask the question, where does Gematria come from? And the answer to where does Gematria come from, it goes back to a practice called isopsephy. And isopsephy is the practice of adding up numerical values that are assigned to letters. And may I say to you that the assigning a value to the letters is arbitrary. Who decided what letter equaled how much? Somebody in charge, right? So you could say that isopsephy was created by the people in charge. Generally speaking, are the people in charge creating codes good or bad? Are the people in charge creating codes for us or against us, as we used to say in the South? But anyway, isopsephy adds up numerical values that have been assigned to letters by somebody from somewhere and uses that value to form a single number. The numbers of the letters, add them up, reduce it, and you've got a single number for the word. And the word is then used as a metaphorical bridge to other words, ideas, and concepts. So it's not even objective. Somebody assigned values to the numbers, somebody assigned values to the letters, and then somebody assigned meaning to the values and the addition of the sums of the values that they also assigned. Whatever Gematria is, it is not an objective empirical science. Who assigned the numerical values to the numbers? Who assigned the metaphorical meaning to the values of the numbers? Isopsephy is related to Gematria, the same practice using the Hebrew alphabet and later also the English alphabet and the ancient number systems of other peoples. It was popular in Europe from the Middle Ages to the Renaissance, and its legacy remains today in code breaking. And if it remains in code breaking, then it has to be in code encoding. Who's generally encoding codes, and are they doing it for our good or for our detriment? Just something to think about. It's also involved in numerology and Masonic symbolism today. Whatever you believe about Masonic symbolism, you have to admit that it is one thing. It is occulted, which means hidden. Generally speaking, are things that are hidden from us hidden because they love us or hidden because they want to screw us, and not in a good way? Just asking the questions. Used by many secret societies to freely communicate openly, yet in a covert manner to those that don't have ears to hear nor eyes to see. Some of you getting mad at me. I'm just asking questions. I'm just pointing out data. Why you want to get mad at me? And Harry Christie just sent me this. Not only do they have to make up values for the letters, not only do they have to assign metaphorical meaning to those values summed by the letters, they also had to make up numbers. And I never looked at this, but if you look, a 1 has 1 angle in it. A 2 has 2 angle, and that works all the way down to 9. And if you believe anything about Thoth, he says that unbalanced things hide in angles. So the simpler we keep things, is it to our betterment? But again, who decided, who designed? These numbers, our numbers, were created in the 5th century. So Gematria is a game played with pieces called numbers, and the pieces themselves are another made-up game. So really, these are games within games. Gematria is a game within a game. And somewhere the Romans are laughing because they've got us hip deep in this stuff and wondering what the hell's going on. Also, in the origin of Gematria is arithmancy or arithmancy. In modern numerological terminology, arithmancy or divination by the numbers is based on assigning, again, arbitrarily, numerical value to a word or phrase by using ancient Greek isosophy or Hebrew Aramaic gematria adapted to the Latin alphabet. So again, it's not empirical, it's not objective, and arithmancy is associated with the Chaldeans, the Platonists, the Pythagoreans, and the Kabbalists. Generally speaking, of the people on that list, for us or against us? Just asking the question. Comes from 2 words, number and divination. Ooh. Arithmancy is divination through numbers. Gematria is arithmancy. Arithmancy is divination. Ergo, therefore, Gematria is divination. And you've got to understand that. You've got to know that. You've got to know that if you are putting weight in Gematria, you're putting weight in divination. And that's up to you whether you want to do that or not. But you need to know it's not a science. It's not empirical. It's not even objective. It's divination created by other people. And what did we say about the use of magic or divinatory tools that are made by others? If you're using somebody else's spell, you're paying the fee, the tax, the assessment. If you're using, if you're using somebody else's sigil, somebody else's ritual, somebody else's spell, you've got to pay the taxes, the tolls, the fees, and the assessments. Why would Gematria be different? You didn't make it up. You didn't create it. And it was obviously, definitely created in a divinatory, energetic, spiritual way. So if you use other magic and have to pay a fee, tax, toll, or assessment, then why wouldn't you have to if you use this divination or this magic? If you owe when you play, if it's play to pay in part of magic, it's play to pay in all of magic. If you didn't create it. Well, Jeff, you use the divining rods. Who made those divining rods? Oh, yeah, I did. Who am I paying? Paying myself. Just thought I'd throw that in there because I know somebody else will. And that's okay. We don't mind having our feet held to the fire. Why does your cursor disappear on the screen sometimes? I don't have any idea why that happens. So, thus far, here's what we know about Gematria. Here's what we know. Gematria is not scientific. Whoops, I'm going to show you this. Let me show you this. Gematria is not scientific. This is what we know so far from our objective empirical study. It's not scientific. It is arbitrary, which means made up. Now, some things you make up work, some things you make up don't. That's for you to choose, but it is arbitrary. Gematria is highly subjective. It's open to great interpretation. Gematria is divination. Gematria is used by occultic secret societies, and Gematria itself is occultic. And one of my concerns about Gematria is that it tends to create a clergy. The people that know and the people that don't know. The people that are adepts and the people that are acolytes. The me's and the you's. The gurus and the non-gurus. It tends to create a spiritual hierarchy, and it tends to create a guru status. That concerns me. Does it concern you? It's up to you whether it concerns you or not, isn't it? But what does also concern me is the amount of toxins that are in our air, the amount of toxins that are in our food, the amount of toxins that they're dumping into our waters. I'm concerned about that. And that's why I use C60 Purple Power. I've also found it to be somewhat of a fountain of youth. Turns your hair back to its natural color, allows you to take your reading glasses off, makes you feel incredibly energetic, and is the greatest antioxidant on the planet. If you're worried about the dosum wisp, I'm not. And maybe I'm not worried about the dosum wisp because I'm dosing with C60 Purple Power. Go to c60purplepower.com, use the code TCW10. You get 10% off your order. Now, this is important, and this is a little technical, so try to tune in here. Gematria is highly, as in totally, completely subjective. It's up to you. Do you like subjective things or do you like objective things? I'm a concrete guy. I'm a numbers guy. Don't tell me what's going on. Let me know the numbers and I'll tell you what's going on. And can we use, for an example, this dosum wisp? The whole country's locked down. The United States of America is locked down, ladies and gentlemen. And it's killed just now 300 people in the United States. More people in the United States committed suicide yesterday than 300. We're not saying 300 people dead is not a big deal. It is. But we are locked down over something that's killed 300 people. It's only killed just over 13,000 in the whole world. More people have choked on food and died. And yet you're all worried about it. Something's going on. And according to the numbers, it ain't what they say is going on. So instead of being all worried and panicky about getting sick and dying, forget about that. You're not going to. It's a flu and not a particularly bad one. Start to ask, what are they doing with this? How are they using this? The numbers tell you what's true. The numbers tell you what's true. So don't give me your explanations. Give me the numbers and let me figure it out from there. And until the Arabic numbers were adopted and adapted from Indian numbers, not like teepee Indians, but, land of India Indians, in the 8th or 9th centuries BC, numbers were from the alphabet. People just used their letters and assigned numerical value to them. And again, it was arbitrary, but that's how they did it. In Greece, the Greek numerals used the alphabet. And it's one thing to think about. If you are using your alphabet number, your alphabet letters to represent numbers, and you start spelling words, you're naturally going to start seeing numbers in words because literally there are numbers in words. If you're putting in cat and cat's got a numerical value, you'll begin to see, oh, that's funny because cat equals 9 and cat have 9 lives. I don't know if it does. I'm just saying. But do you see what I just did? Cat means 9 because cats have 9 lives. Who decided? Jeff did. Who decided what the numerical value of the letters are? Somebody just like Jeff, who just thought it was a cool idea to make 9 a cat. That is your scientific basis for gematria. You have to ask yourself how comfortable you are with that. Because it's not a science, but rather it is a cultic encoding open to vast interpretation. I'm a numbers guy. I like it a little more objective. I like it a little more empirical, but that's just me What do you like, and what are you willing to accept? Now, here's a couple of notes on Isopsephia, which is Gematria, and Hebrew from the scholar John, and I'm not even going to try to say his last name, John O. Except for this first line, I'm saying this one. I'm saying this one. I'm saying this one. Hebrew enjoys a reverence for ancientness. I know it's not a word, but you know what I mean, which is not warranted. It's not warranted. Well, Jeff, you're being anti-Limish. No, I'm not. Listen to what I'm saying. Hebrew does not deserve its reverence for ancientness. Here's some facts. Greek number numerals go back at least till the end of the 4th century BC. They appeared on coins 266. They appeared on papyrus 311 BC. Think about that for a minute. The oldest examples of Hebrew go back only to the beginning of the 1st century at best. 1st century BC. The oldest example of any Hebrew lettering system is 103 BC. Prior to that, the Jews used other people's numerical systems. Jeff, why do I care? Here's why you care. This is a show about Gematria. You're probably not here if you don't have some interest in Gematria. These facts that don't care about your feeling, these facts show that the Hebrew alphabetic numeration was derived from the Greek, which blew my mind when I thought about it, because you think, oh, Hebrew, it's so ancient. I've heard people say Hebrew's the most ancient language. Ooh, that's a special kind of special. But Hebrew was not actually made. I'm just going to read this. These considerations support the view that the Hebrew alphabetic numeration was derived from the Greek, and this view is certainly not contradicted by Jewish inscriptions made later during the diaspora. Between the 1st century BC and the 7th century AD, when the use of Hebrew alphabetic numeration was becoming increasingly common in the Jewish world, several Jewish scribes in the Mediterranean who could write as well in Hebrew and Greek often continued to use the Greek numerical letters. So, Jeff, what's the point? Here's the point. The Gematria that everybody knows and loves is Hebrew Gematria. And it came to us from the Greeks via Rome. And there's some distinct differences between early Hebrew, which was a lot like the Phoenician text, and square Hebrew, which is the Hebrew we know now. Because the early Hebrew, the Phoenician Hebrew, did not have final forms of its letters. You couldn't assign a numerical value to the letter because the letters changed too much. And if you can't have a system where this curvy letter or block letter means this number, then you can't have Gematria. So what's the point? The point is that Gematria could not have ever been used. It would not have worked before square Hebrew. And square Hebrew did not come until the 1st, 2nd centuries AD. The use of the final forms in Gematria is not likely to predate the 2nd century CE, and it could not have predated the 2nd century BCE. So what happened? This is the exact time, around 100 AD, the exact time that Rome was consolidating Roman Judaism, when Rome was making and consolidating Roman Catholicism and Roman Protestantism. And Gematria came to us in this very same Roman Enlightenment. I'm not telling you what to do about Gematria, but I'm telling you and showing you and proving to you Where it came from Rome. Rome invented it, Rome made it up, and they dressed it up in ancientness, pseudo-ancientness, by a language that was just created at the same time. As much as you hate to say it, and Tracy said it much better, you couldn't have any gematria assigned to letters until you had a static alphabet. And the Hebrews did not have a static alphabet until, amazingly, after the temple burnt down. Gematria is Roman, not Hebrew. Now, I don't know if that affects the way you feel about gematria or not, but it is a fact. It's Roman, not Hebrew. The forms of gematria not likely to predate the 2nd century. That's 100 AD on. That's post-temple Jerusalem. That's Roman Judaism. And we have to understand what happened to Judaism after the destruction of Rome in AD 70. Do you know what happened? Rome burned that shit down, destroyed it, ended Judaism as we know it. And they started rabbinical Judaism. Joe Atwell has 2 great works, Caesar's Messiah, Shakespeare's Secret Messiah. And he highlights and shows hardcore historical evidence that Rome, listen to this, Rome funded the rebirth of Judaism. Rome gave them money to live on. Rome gave them buildings to live in. Rome gave them buildings to teach in. Rome gave them the money to build new rabbinical schools. Rome gave them the money to build new synagogues. Rome gave stipends to allow the rabbis to teach full time. Why did the Romans do this? They either did it because A, they loved them so much, or B, because they wanted to use them so much. Which one do you think is more likely? Judaism as we know it today is Roman Judaism, and gematria as we know it today is Roman gematria. And for some of you, this might change everything, but only if you're paying attention. Only if you're paying attention. So let's take another step down. Let's go a little bit deeper down. A Mishnaic textual source makes it clear that the word gematria is dated to at least the Tanaic period. And we're going to show you what the Tanaic period is. We define words as we go because we don't want to lose comprehension. So what's Mishnah? Mishnah is the first major written collection of the Jewish oral traditions. It's known as oral Torah. And I hate to really think about what that means sometimes. But it's also the first major work of rabbinic literature. Who were the rabbis, the scribes, the Pharisees? Somewhere it said, beware the doctrine of the scribes and Pharisees. No matter how you slice it, gematria is a doctrine of the scribes and Pharisees. What is the Mishnah? It's one of the 2 main components of the Talmud. Do you know anything about the Talmud? You should. Not good. Along with the Gemara, which is an elucidation of the Mishnah and the related Tanaic writings that often ventures into other subjects and expounds broadly on the Hebrew Bible, which is the Jewish Testament. Elucidate means to make clear or explain. So when's the Tanaic period? From 10 to 220 CE. The Tanaian people lived in several areas of Israel. Jerusalem got destroyed. After that, they founded new religious centers in Yavne, Lod, and Bnei Brak. Who founded them? Who paid for them? Who built them? Who ran them? Who supported them? Rome did. So Tanaic rule equals Roman rule. Gematria appeared in the Tanaic period. Gematria appeared in the period of Roman rule. And gematria was invented by people that were getting paid by the Roman Empire. How does that make you feel? You know, I always hear the karma's a bitch. Only if you are. and history is only a bitch if you are. Look at this time period from 0 to 200. That's when the Roman Testament was created. That's when Josephus wrote, and that's also when Gematria was created. The Tannaim, the people that lived during this time, operated under the occupation of the Roman Empire, just like the writers of the Roman Testament did. And here's a little fun fact. Many researchers connect the number of the beasts referred to in the book of Revelation with Hebrew Gematria. And according to Hebrew Gematria, 666, 600, 666, that number was originally derived from the name of the Roman emperor at the time, Nero Caesar, via the Greek Neron Caesar. And if you add up the numerical value of the letters in the word Neron Caesar, you come up with 666. Think about when this was written. This was written during the time when the Flavians were coming to rule. And Nero just happened to have been the last of the Julian emperors. So if you're trying to create a world where people worship you, the new emperors, wouldn't it be really cool if you could make the old emperors look like the beast? Ooh, Nero, he's the beast. I'm a Flavian. I'm the God that's going to save you. It's possible, ladies and gentlemen, that Gematria was originally conceived, constructed, and rolled out just for this, just to demonize and beastize the old emperor class and make it easier for the new emperors to look good. Meet the new boss, same as the old boss, only we're going to convince you old boss was a beast, new boss is a god. Now, I know that you don't like some of that, but the reason you don't like it is because it makes too much sense and it's knocking the legs out from under your hobby horse. Think, reason, understand. Modern Gematria is brought to us by the builders of the Matrix. Gematria comes from post-temple Judaism. Post-temple Judaism is Roman. Gematria is Roman. Rome runs the Matrix. Gematria is of the Matrix. Can Gematria be trusted? Or is it just a shiny object of the Matrix distraction? Perhaps the shiniest object of Matrix distraction. It's time for a little story. And I know that I was inebriated when I tried to tell the story before, but I'm talking about a shiny object. In Indonesia, they hunt monkeys because they eat monkeys. And you think, how the hell can you hunt a monkey in the jungle? Monkey, they're just gone. They're in the trees. They're in the jungle. How do you catch a damn monkey in the jungle? And you could ask, how can you catch a free spirit, a free soul, however you want to say it? How do you tie down something that is essentially free? You don't unless you trick it. And what they're doing to the monkeys in Indonesia, they're doing to you and I right now. What they do with the monkeys in Indonesia is they take a steak, a big steak, and they pound it into the ground. And they take a rope or a chain. And this rope and the chain is connected to the steak. And it's got about, if I remember correctly, about 15 feet of slack in it. Stake down on this end. On this end, they take a coconut. Just a coconut. And they attach it to that chain, attach it to that rope. And there's a hole cut in that coconut. It's emptied out, it's hollowed out, and there's a hole in that coconut. And that hole is just big enough for a monkey to do his hand or her hand like this and stick their hand through that hole. Just like that, like sticking through that sun. It's only that big. You got to crunch your hand up and stick it in there to get your hand in there. And then they take a shiny object, literally. I'm not just quoting Tracy Dyer. They take a shiny object and they stick it in that coconut. And they hide behind the tree with a big club. Here comes Mr. Monkey. Here comes Miss Monkey, walking through the jungle, minding their monkey business. And all of a sudden they see that coconut. They go over and they look in that coconut and they see a shiny object in that coconut. Ooh, a shiny object, an exciting object, an interesting object, an object they've never seen before, an object that looks really, really cool. You can't catch a monkey. You got to let a monkey catch himself or herself. So they stick their little monkey hand into that hole and they grab that shiny object. And do you see what happened? You stick your hand in like that. You grab the shiny object. And now your hand's like that. And they can't pull it out. They're stuck. They're stuck. All they have to do is go like this, let go of the shiny object, pull their little hand out and run back into the trees. But they stuck their hand in, they grabbed the object, and that object is so appealing to them that they won't let go. They're stuck. They're caught. They won't let go. And the worst part is, this is kind of graphic. Here comes dude out from behind the tree with a big club. And he's walking up to Monkey with a big club. And Monkey won't let go. So what does dude with club do? He kills Monkey with club. After Monkey dead, guess what happens? Monkey hand goes limp. They pull Monkey hand out of the coconut. Put that shiny object, pry that shiny object out of Monkey hand, put it back in a coconut for the next stupid monkey to come by. They put the monkey in the bag. Every shiny object you see isn't good for you. Every shiny object isn't good for you. And if you really want to look at that shiny object, Tracy Dyer, this is golden. If you really see a shiny object you want to look at, why don't you be a little more objective? Why don't you be a little more empirical? Why don't you pick up the coconut and shake it, let the shiny object fall on the ground, and you can check it out without encasing yourself within a system of error that just might entrap you. Good one, Tracy. Really, really good one. What am I trying to say? I'm trying to tell you, don't be stupid, monkey. I'm trying to tell you and trying to show you that Gematria comes from post-temple Judaism. Post-temple Judaism is Roman. Gematria is Roman. Rome runs the matrix. Gematria is of the matrix. Gematria can't be trusted. It's a shiny object. Don't grab it. And if you do, some of you right now got your hand in a coconut, and I'm bringing you a club of truth, and you're screaming your heads off, but you won't let go of the shiny object. But the next guy that brings a club, it ain't going to be a club of truth. It's going to be a club to kill you and suck you dry and profit by your energy while you die. Which makes Gematria very, very much like the Bible. Gematria is made in Rome. The Jewish, the Roman Testament, the New Testament was made in Rome. The Old Testament, the Limish Testament was edited by Rome. And all three are designed to keep us in the matrix. Listen to what I said. At their design point, they're designed to keep us in the matrix. That's why I say all three are best avoided. Or I should ask, are all three best avoided? If you knew something could do that to you, would it be best to avoid it? It's like, do you really want to eat that sushi puffer fish? That might kill you. I mean, how good can a piece of sushi taste? They all kind of taste the same. Are you willing to try the puffer fish just because it's a puffer fish and it's cool? Or can you just have some more sake? Or sake? Sake is the salmon, sake is the drink. Now, advanced researchers can find some gems if they know how to protect themselves, but you got to know you're using the enemy's system that the enemy's using to fool you. And boy, a lot of you get really enamored with it. It's like playing with a cobra, a pet cobra. It might slither up next to you real nice. It might act like it loves you, but it's a cobra. Sooner or later, it's going to bite you. My observation is that Gematria, like the Bible, keeps lots of people chasing their tail instead of seeing and dealing with the most important things. My advice to you is to be smart. My advice to you is to trust no one, trust nothing. Don't give anything carte blanche whatsoever. That's just my recommendation for you. Wrapping this up, just because I want to be complete and thorough, Gematria also comes from something called Tamura or Tamua and Notarikon. Tamura, I left the R off on the left there. Tamura is one of the three ancient methods used by Kabbalists to rearrange words and sentences in the Jewish Testament, the Old Testament, in the belief that they can find esoteric, deeper meanings from the words. There's Atbash, Avgad, and Album. That doesn't mean anything, but that's just what they are, so you know. This system, you replace the first letter with the last letter of the alphabet. If it was English, if you saw an A in a word, you'd make it a Z. If there was a B, you'd make it a Y. If there's a C, you'd make it an X. It's a code. This code, if you wanted to write A, you'd really put B. If you wanted to write B, you'd put C, you put D. So you'd know it's a code. This one goes to the 12th, and you go 12, 13, 14. They're codes. And you know that we've got things right now where we can't say words without getting demonetized, and we can't say words without being on the bad list. So I've decided turnabout is fair play. I'm going to use a little Atbash, a little Avgad, and a little Album. I'm going to use some Illuminati shit on the Illuminati. So from now on, you're going to hear me say words, and you're going to be like, what the hell is this guy talking about? And I'm going to make a video that defines these words so you can refer back to it if you need to. We're not talking about a certain group anymore. We're talking about the limbs or the limish now. We're not talking about a certain guy that supposedly is hanging out. Jesus, I'm going to say it one more time. Jesus is well hung. Horrible. That's Hiru. And his full name is Hiru Distu. His dad is Corsi. What do they call him? They call him Mon. The nation that brought us that is Monad. And again, that second part of Hiru is Distu. The guy that you asked to come into your heart along with Distu is called Manoff. And that thing that is going around right now, that hoax that's got you worried, and you shouldn't be, it's the dosum wist. So when you hear these things, and you're going to hear them, and why are you going to hear them? Because when you say the other words, the words on the left, they have power, they have frequency. They give energy to powers behind these words. And I don't want to do that anymore. I'm not a whore. And I'm certainly not a slut. I'm not giving it away for free. Notarikon is just like acronyms. Mothers Against Drunk Driving. That's a use of Notarikon. Probably the easiest to use, obviously. But I hear you guys. Even though you think it only goes one way, I hear you. And some of you are saying, Jeff, this is all bullshit. Really? Well, there was a little something in the Roman Testament that always made me wonder why. Well, Pontius Pilate composed an epitaph, which is something he put on a tombstone, and he hung it on the sign above the head of, where is he? Above the head of Hiru Distu. And the Limish authorities were really pissed about it. What he wrote was, it was Hiru Distu, king of the Limish, king of the limbs. And they came and they said, you can't write that. And he said, listen, bitches, I'll write what I want. So why were they so pissed? Here's why they were pissed. Because Pilate was using Notaricon on their asses, and they didn't like that. Pilate's using their shit against them. And watch what he did. There's a good reason the Lemish leadership did not like Pilate's sign, which is revealed when you analyze the phrase Hieru Distu, king of the limbs. Because in the original Hebrew, using the technique of Notaricon, the original Hebrew is that, which, if you read it from right to left, reveals the acronym of YHVH, the tetragrammaton, or the name of their holy Mon. Wow. Pilate didn't think it was bullshit. The people that wrote the New Testament, the Roman Testament, didn't think it was bullshit. And it doesn't, Gematria doesn't fool me. I know how to use it. Really? They've been fooling you for 2,000 years with this one, and none of you knew it. I've been studying this for 100,000 hours plus. Bible college degree, 20 years of minister. I didn't know it. I guarantee you didn't know. But I didn't know the gun was loaded. I didn't know that they were tricking me. That's sort of the point, isn't it? They made up this tricky system to trick bitches 2,000 years ago. You better be one smart bitch if you think you can use their system that they've been tricking bitches with for 2,000 years when you wasn't even a bitch yet. Think about it. Think about it. Interesting, isn't it? Interesting to ponder. Interesting to ponder. And that makes a whole lot more sense when you're not high. I was roofied, ladies and gentlemen. Roofied. And we've made it right now. I feel like I can respect myself again in the morning. Let's go to the chat room. And I know that we missed a lot of comments, but we're going to do our very, very best. Codes. Remember that codes are about hiding stuff. Codes are not meant to help you. Codes are not meant to do you good. Codes are meant to hide shit from you and keep you in the dark. That's why I wonder about falling in love with a code system. It wasn't meant for your good. It's like having a pet cobra. He may not bite you today. He may not bite you tomorrow. But sooner or later, you're going to wake up with your arm the size of your leg and you're going to die. But it was such a nice cobra. It's still a cobra. It's got to be true to its nature. A code is designed to fool you, fools. It's time to fool you, fools. Oh, it's enough to make you numb. Make you numb by the numbers. Ooh. Wow. That's some interesting stuff. It sounds like math magic only because it is. Only because it is. You owe them when you use it. Gematria is demonstrably a magical divinatory system that you didn't make up. So if you use it, if you play, you're going to pay. And not with dollars, but with stuff that'll make you holla. They're going to take your energy. They're going to take your juice. They're going to take your juju. And Dyer with the catty comment of the day that I wish I'd have thought of. Somebody who used to use it for predicting sports outcomes is paying the price now because there's no sports. No sports, no money. Wow. That's true. Are people actually using Gematria to make life decisions? Kim Randall, of course they are. Of course they are. And it's their prerogative. I just want to give them all the information. Gematria people are always working an angle. Ooh, that's a great t-shirt for those in the know. I like it. Ooh, boy, that's something. Maybe no different than Vedic astrology. Well, maybe yes, maybe no. I think there's a lot more objective, empirical, observable data in Vedic astrology, especially than there is in Gematria. But I get your point. I get your point. I get your point. Any recommendations on which C60 flavor? It only comes in two. It's in oil. It's either in coconut oil or avocado oil. It depends on which one you like. Depends on which one you like. Very amazing stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Very amazing stuff. What else we got? The system that changes with your spelling. Yeah. Ooh. And it's based on spelling. Wow, you guys are good. You guys are good. They do look like Greek letters, only because they come from Greek letters. The Romans again, go figure. Yep. There you go. Again, it's the Romans again, go figure. But I'm sure that's just coincidence. No, it's not. And we obviously know that it's not. Rome funded them to create a history and a culture. And you don't fund somebody to create a history and a culture unless that history and culture is favorable towards you. You ain't giving nobody money to do something that's against you. So if you're getting paid by the system, you're getting paid because you are a whore to the system. And Gematria, the Bible, are whores to the system. If you want to use them, you're allowed to use whores. Well, I'm talking morally, not law. In Nevada, you're allowed to use whores some places, but anyway. Oh, boy. What does this say? Off the topic, but thank you for being the literal one channel that hasn't lost their minds with the Dosum Whist. You're a badass being home listening to working on my tanks. You're my friend. I appreciate you. That's really, really good. A history fakery. Absolutely. That's what it is. Ryan, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I salute you for that. Numbers are alive. You know what I'm going to say? Prove it. I don't know if they are or not. If somebody said, are they alive? I'd say no. No. But that's interesting. That's interesting. And I like this. I realize I've been lazy and not looking the true source of info in so many topics. No more. That's what I'm here for right there. To get people learning how and motivated to unindoctrinate themselves. Somebody's getting paid, follow the money. Absolutely. Crystal's not surprised, nor should she be. Good for you. This is fascinating. Talk about living in falsehood. Yep. Absolutely. It's very possible. Yes, it is. So good. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, that's what I am doing. I'm letting you know where the bridges are out. If you still want to drive into the chasm, it's up to you. Kim Randall, I salute you so much. We are winning, and I appreciate it. I appreciate it very, very much. Let's see. Wow. 2 trees. Winning and loving. Appreciate you too. Pick up the coconut and shake it. Let the object fall out if you got to, or just walk on past. Just walk on past. Ooh, don't be a Curious George. Did Curious George have a tail or no? Do you remember him with a tail? I do. I do. On this channel, We either walk past coconuts or I say, oh, no, you don't want that. That's bad. That's a trap. And I'm just thinking, if you know it's a trap, if you see a coconut on a chain staked, if you see a coconut on a chain that's attached to a stake, you know what it's there for. It's there to catch you. It's there to enslave you. Why would you go pick up that coconut when you know it's a trap? Only if you're learned an advanced unindoctrination concepts. You got to be the bomb disposal team to do that. You got to walk up there and make sure that just touching that coconut is not going to give you some energetic transference. Then you got to make sure that turning that coconut is not going to cause it all to blow up in your face and have some mist go down into your lungs and you're turned into, I almost said something funny. Or if you dump it out. Yeah, I'm just saying, you know it's a trap. Do you really want to investigate it? Of course I would, because that's my job. And some of you, it's your job too, but most of you, just save your time. Walk past the trap. If you walk past a trap, you're guaranteed not to get caught in it. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. But we are coconut shakers here. No doubt about it. Our hands will not get caught in their traps. And you know, if you ever find yourself caught in a trap and can't walk out, all you got to do is open your hand and let go of the shiny object and run like hell. We've all been caught in traps. We've all been caught in traps. But let's don't let a good thing die. Just let go. Just let go. And walk away. Walk away. I need more study about this. Did I upset you? Remember, study is objective. Trying to prove that you're right is not study. That's called confirmation bias. Just a little something for you. Just get to know you something for you. Good to know the holes in theories and stay open-minded enough not to fall into them. I like that. I like that. You got to know your own mind, the gods, that don't put anything else above that. I can deal with that. I can deal with that. This is a test. I like that. Thank you, Two Trees. This is very interesting, actually. That's why I put it on, because I was hoping that it would be interesting. Okay, what else? What else? What else? I thought the monkeys were smart. You know what they say, monkey see, monkey do. Don't let that be you. Don't let that be you. Very interesting, very powerful study. Something for you to think about. And I hope that you'll start saying, prove it. I hope that you'll start asking where the stuff comes from. I hope that you'll start looking out for the coconuts on chains in your life. And I hope that you'll learn to just walk past them. Or if you got to, don't stick your hand in the hole. Or if you do, and you get sucked in, when you're about to get beat by the club, it feels a lot better when they stop beating you, and all you have to do is let go of the shiny object and run away. Even if you're holding the object and you're getting beat, you're still divine, you're still sovereign, you're still free. Just let that shit go and walk away. That's all you have to do. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what unindoctrination looks like. This is what unindoctrination sounds like. This is what unindoctrination feels like. And we are in the unindoctrination business. And cousins, that business is a booming. We're the last generation of real humans. And we're here to show that the world is not bad and getting worse. It's good and getting better. And we're here to show the world what it looks like when you win, 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 and win again. We're here to do the business of unindoctrination. I salute you that are here seeking after truth. For Tracy Dyer, our great, and all our other great moderators, for the lovely Cynthia, I'm Jeffey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower, encouraging you to unindoctrinate yourself.